Hi everybody, it's about 6 p.m. on Wednesday the 26th of August 2020 and I'm about 15 months post-op from a total laparoscopic hysterectomy with bilateral saphenophractomy. So that means that I had my uterus, fallopian tubes, ovaries and cervix removed as final stage treatment for my treatment-resistant PMDD. And I know I've done updates all the way through, and I think that on a lot of the updates I've said, life is really good. And life is good. I always try to be positive on these updates, but I also want to keep it real because I want people watching who potentially might be going through the same to not feel alone. Because I think it's really easy to hear how well other people are doing post-op and feel very alone, that perhaps things aren't going quite so smoothly for yourself. So just a brief overview of how things have been for me lately. So since about April, so what's that, the last 3 or 4 months, I've been having a lot of physical problems, which I thought were symptoms of the menopause. So I was having a lot of migraines. They were really debilitating. Like, I would struggle through the day at work. I would come home, I would get in bed and I would just sleep from like when I got in at about 6 through till 9. I'd get up at 9, I'd eat, and then I'd go back to bed. I was getting hot flushes like multiple times a day. I was getting night sweats. I was always so tired. I think those were the main symptoms that were really troubling me. Oh, and a symptom that I guess is a bit difficult for people to talk about is I was experiencing a lot of vaginal dryness. So I think those were like the main symptoms that I was sort of experiencing on pretty much a daily basis, which could make things quite miserable. But actually, on the whole, my mood was okay. So they were trying to rule out why I was so exhausted all the time, and they did some bloods. My GP did like thyroid, diabetes, vitamin D, just normal urea and electrolytes, and then she said, I'll just do your estrogen just to make sure, and my estrogen came back really high. And when I say really high, I'm talking like 3,500 high. For me personally, they were aiming for a level of about between 800 and 1,000, so it was kind of like really off the scale. And we didn't know why, because I haven't changed my dose of estrogen for months. Absolutely months. I've been on roughly the same dose as I was pre-op throughout, so we didn't really know what has happened. However, I managed to get some guidance from the consultant, and he suggested that I get repeat bloods just to check that it wasn't an anomaly of a result, and the next one came back just as high and out of range. So we decided that I would reduce my estrogen, so I'm now taking half the dose that I was taking. And oh my goodness, I feel so much better physically. Like, the hot flushes have pretty much stopped. The night sweats have completely stopped. I've perhaps had maybe one headache. It was just a headache, not a migraine, so that was hugely positive. Apart from now, I'm having like really vivid nightmares most nights. And then more recently, like, I've been at work and I really enjoy my job, but my confidence is so off at the moment, and I started to get really sort of angry and started grieving and thinking, PMDD, it's broken me. Like, I'm never going to be the person that I might have been because of PMDD. Like, I could have had a successful career with what I studied at university, and now I have no confidence to do anything. And I started grieving for the person that I could have been or might have been. And I was kind of like overwhelmed with this darkness and this lack of self-worth and this huge lack of self-confidence. And I was angry. I was so angry about it. I was just like, this is not fair. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get that confidence back. It's destroyed me. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And as I was driving, I was reflecting, and I always do a lot of thinking when I'm driving or walking. And I had to catch myself, and I thought, what are you on with, Emily? Like, come on, get a grip. You know that although you've had surgery, PMDD is an abnormal reaction to a change in hormone levels. Your hormone levels are changing dramatically right now. You've just had your estrogen cut in half to bring your hormone levels down to reduce your physical symptoms. Less than a week ago, you made that change. It's completely normal that while they're changing my hormones around, there's going to be wobbles. And I had to sort of take a step back from the place that my head was in and where I was ruminating and thinking, you know, this is really negative and I don't want to do this anymore. And reframe it and think that, yes, there's been ups and downs post-op, but I was warned about those. I knew they were to be expected. And I don't regret the surgery in any way, shape or form. Regardless of how I've been feeling, my life is still so much better like now than it ever was pre-op. Like, there's not even a comparison. I actually have a life now, whereas I really didn't have a life pre-op. My life was a complete shambles and I was so distressed all the time. And yes, PMDD has destroyed me in some aspects, but it has made me in others. There are so many things that I am doing now that I just would never have been involved in if it wasn't for PMDD. And I'm so lucky that I'm in a position that I'm now able to try and influence change and raise awareness to prevent others going through what I went through. And so, yes, I feel very broken right now in this moment. But overall, there have been good things that have come from PMDD. It's definitely made me who I am today. And actually, I'm feeling really shaky today emotionally. But I've got to be mindful of the fact that my hormones are being messed about everywhere while we're trying to get my dose of HRT right and bring my estrogen levels down. And it's almost to be expected that I might have an emotional wobble. Obviously, I was hoping that I didn't, and I get frustrated when it comes. But I've got through PMDD, which was like 1,000,000 times worse than how I feel right now. I can get through this. It's just a minor wobble. And probably within a week or two, things will have all levelled out again and I'll be fine. And I think it's also important for me to remember, like, what I tell others. So I need to practice what I preach a little bit more. So, you know, we always say that when you've had a HRT change, you have to leave it like 6 to 8 weeks before you make another change, because you need to give your body time to adapt to the new change and to stabilise and things. So why is my body so different? Why am I expecting that my body doesn't fit that recommendation? Like, yeah, things are a bit trickier than I want right now, but I've got so much energy compared to what I've had for the last 4 months. I'll be fine. There are a lot of things that I can put in place to try and make my mood better, or to try and prevent my mood dropping further. So, you know, I've got the energy, I can go for a walk. I've got the energy, I can cook myself healthy meals, and I can make sure I get plenty of sleep, and I can plan in lots of fun activities that will boost my mood. So it doesn't have to be all consuming and this all or nothing mindset that PMDD used to be, that actually when things started to slide, they were going to turn into a complete crisis. I don't have PMDD anymore. Yes, I have hormone sensitivity, but it's not PMDD, and it's really important that I try and remember that. And after 17 years of being in that cycle of PMDD and of things being okay or complete and utter crisis, that I try to work really hard to reframe things when my mood does start to slide. That yes, it's a wobble. It doesn't mean to say I'm going to go into crisis, not by any means. And yes, it's okay to have a cry, but I'll be okay. And, you know, I can go and do my job, and that's fine. Yes, my anxiety might be a little bit higher than it has been, but actually I'll get through this and it'll all be okay. So basically, I just wanted to share that so that those people that are post-op and are feeling alone, or those people that are considering surgery and want a bit of real life insight, into what challenges you may face post-op could come on and hop on and just hear me talk through some of the challenges that I'm having, even 15 months down the line. It is a long journey post-op, and it's not a decision to be made lightly. But for some people, it may feel like the only option. I do appreciate that. For me, it felt like the only option and the only way forwards. And it has 100% changed my life for the better. But that doesn't mean to say there aren't still challenges along the way for me. And I can 100% not regret my surgery, but still have wobbles and teething problems with my HRT along the way to stability. And maybe that will be a longer term issue, that I'll always have slight wobbles and problems with my HRT and my hormones, but it's still a million times better than life with PMDD. Okay.